Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
This the monster from the swamps, Regis Rougarou Program.
Hey, what's up? This is King Carlos Molina, former IBF world champ.
This is Michael, the Bounty Hunter, 2012 Olympian and your people's champ.
This is Charlie Edwards, flyweight champion of the world.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 472 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host Joey Coastman. I'm joined as ever by former heavyweight world title challenger, the main man himself, Mr. Fast Eddie Chambers. Eddie, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great, my man. How about you?
Always good when speaking with you, Eddie. Always good when speaking with you. Let's dive straight into the review part of the show. This one went down in Armenia at the Karen Demirchian Sports Complex in Yerevan. Over here we saw Murat Gassiev return to the ring after some time out of it. He's now 31-2 because he KO'd in 5 rounds Kem Lundqvist, who was undefeated. He was 18-0, now 18-1. That's it for Armenia. Moving now to the final card to mention of the review part of the show. I know that you didn't see this one, Eddie, but it was live on DAZN at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester, United Kingdom. You used to live up there for a while. Anyway, let's touch on the undercard first. We did see Junaid Bostan move to double-figure wins, now 10-0. A TKO for him in the third against Maiko Somariva, who's now 9-5 with a draw. Third round TKO there for Bostan. Somariva down from a left uppercut to the body prior to the stoppage. Also on that card, we saw Pat McCormack move to 6-0, a unanimous decision over 10 rounds at welterweight against Williams Herrera, now 16-4. We saw Herrera in there with Paddy Donovan earlier this year. McCormack as well picked up a bad cut over his left eye in the 9th round. A head clash caused that cut there. Also on the card, the rematch between James Flint, now 15-2 with 2 draws, and Campbell Hatton, now 14-2. Campbell Hatton cut over his left eye. Flint as well suffered swelling to his left eye. I think the heads came in a couple times. Obviously it was a rematch, like I say, unanimous decision over 10 rounds for James Flint. Really, really good fight, just like the first one. I just never really saw the sense in throwing Campbell Hatton straight back in with James Flint. It just didn't make much sense to me, in all honesty. And I felt that this fight was even wider than the first fight. I think in this fight here, I probably gave Hatton about maybe 2, maybe 3 rounds at a push. I think that Flint kind of just did what he did in the first fight, but even better. He knew when to throw. He knew what to throw. And he was just kind of doing his bit to just kind of win the rounds in the eyes of the judges, you know. I know that sounds quite simple what I'm saying there, but he'd start a round good, he'd finish a round good. Campbell Hatton would try and kind of, pick the pace up in the middle part of the round, but, I think someone said it on the commentary. The judges, they always kind of remember how a round starts and how it ends, but not necessarily the middle part of the round. And I think that the start and the finish of each round, James Flint, or Jimmy Joe, I think they call him, he was just doing, the right things. He was landing some eye-catching shots, and it was not just from the right hand. He was landing good shots with his left. It was uppercuts, it was hooks, it was nice jabs that he was making Campbell walk into. He has obviously got a lot of tricks in the book. The mad thing is that obviously between the 2 fights, Flint went away and picked up a loss and came back here, and obviously Campbell Hatton went straight back in with him, and he's beaten Campbell Hatton again. So Campbell Hatton, like I say, finds himself in a very, very bad position. Eddie Hearn did say it's sink or swim time in this rematch for him, and obviously he's sunk, if you like, even though it was a good, entertaining fight and there were competitive rounds. For me, Flint was a very, very, very clear winner in the end. He was just over 2-1 to win that fight on points, which is weird to me because obviously he won the first fight on points, and for him to do the same thing shouldn't have been 2-1 ever, in my opinion. Yeah, you know, it was a good fight, but like I say, it just makes no sense for Campbell Hatton because, you know, they're building him up, and they were kind of building him up in the same way that they were building up Conor Benn initially. And Conor Benn had a couple of, you know, hiccups, obviously, against Cedric Paynaud, and you know, there were times where he looked terrible, but they managed to still build him successfully into the fighter that he is today. And with Campbell Hatton, it's like they didn't have enough patience or whatever. It just made no sense. And for people as witty and as clever and as calculated as Matchroom are, I was quite surprised with the way that they've done this. You know, to throw him straight back in with Flint was just madness. And I just couldn't see the benefit in that at all, unless they were just done with Campbell Hatton. But yeah, you know, we're talking about the son of a British boxing legend who, you know, appealed to the average man on the street. You know, everyone liked Ricky Hatton. Everyone was a Ricky Hatton fan. He was a normal guy who everyone could relate to as a working class man. And, you know, he's got his son here, Campbell, and a lot of them old people were coming back and buying boxing tickets and stuff like that. And Campbell Hatton, I think, could have been built further than this. I think he's hit a roadblock a little bit too soon, and at a level that it's going to be hard to come back from. So like I say, I don't know why they threw him straight back in. That's just the one thing I do not understand. As clever as Matchroom are at building fighters and stuff like that, they've shown us time and time again that they can build fighters. They didn't do that with Campbell Hatton, and I feel a little bit disappointed on his behalf because I feel like they could have got more out of him. But yeah, you know, he's lost 2 on the bounce to the same guy, a guy that is not really rated that highly, even though I think he's underrated because he clearly can do quite a bit. You know, Campbell Hatton probably does need to go away and I don't know, maybe go with a new trainer, maybe just travel around and do a bit more sparring in different gyms and pick up a bit of experience on the road. But yeah, it's a sad kind of way to, I suppose, end his 2024. Moving up to the main event, we had Jack Catterall move to 30-1, a unanimous decision over 12 rounds for the vacant WBO International Super Lightweight title against friend of the show, former champion Regis Prograis, now 29-3. Catterall down in the 5th round, Regis Prograis down twice in the 9th. Yeah, it was an interesting fight. It took a while to kind of catch light, I guess. I think the early rounds were a little bit lackluster. Regis Prograis seemed a little bit hesitant, but then I did think he picked up a couple of the early rounds anyway. Obviously, Jack Catterall was just waiting in front of Regis and just throwing out a jab here and there. He was extremely patient, a little bit too patient, sometimes made it a little bit boring in those early rounds. So yeah, both men were sort of keeping it very, very long. Didn't really end up on the inside for a few rounds. Regis Prograis, for me, just kept throwing these complete throwaway jabs. And they weren't intentional. He just kept falling short again and again and again with his jab. And I just don't know why he was doing it. It's like he knew he was too far out of range, but was still throwing a jab that he knows is going to fall short for some odd reason. It didn't come close to landing, and he threw so many jabs away, and he's obviously exerting energy doing that. Couldn't understand why he was doing that. It's not like he was trying to get a bit of range and he was going to step behind it with the left or anything. He was throwing this southpaw jab with his right hand from miles out, falling short. I couldn't understand that. Whereas Jack Catterall, he never really wastes shots, and he didn't waste any the other night either. He was much more clinical. He was, more sharper than Regis, and overall he was just better than Regis the other night. Obviously, I'm a big Regis Prograis fan. I wanted him to win. He's a friend of the show. He's a nice guy. I got a good relationship with him, but it was sad to see, and obviously to see him on the deck twice as well. I think his knockdown over Jack Catterall was kind of half a slip, but to see him on the deck twice, and he was really hurt, it would indicate again that maybe his punch resistance has gone a little bit. I'm not sure where it went. It might have been the Zorilla fight where it went, to be honest with you. But other than that, he looked a little bit in trouble against obviously Devin Haney. He looked in trouble here against Jack Catterall. Both guys not known for their punching power at all, but he's been in big trouble and he's been down. So, not sure where Regis goes, unfortunately. I think there's so many guys as well, at those weights and around those weights that would really fancy it with Regis Prograis. Obviously, he's still a name, but I don't want to see him racking up loss after loss. I don't want to see him ever getting stopped. Like, that's just, I just don't want to see that happen to him. He's a good guy. And I don't want to see him like a wounded animal because he's fought on for too long. He's made money in the sport. I think he's invested the money well. If he is to carry on, which I think he is, I think he's already come out and said he's not going to retire. He's eyeing a move up to 147. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I think he'll have to actually move there and have a fight before we actually know. But I wish him all the best, and I hope he's okay. And I actually wouldn't mind seeing him rematch Josh Taylor up at 147. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight at all. But if he were to lose that, then I'd say that's enough. I don't really want to see him racking up more losses. If he loses his next fight, then he should probably think about hanging him up. As for Jack Catterall, again, very good win, very good name for his resume once again. It's got to be a world title shot next. Even Regis said it in the ring. He said that this guy's better than all of the guys I've boxed. That was a massive, massive compliment for Jack Catterall, and he probably needed it because he's never really had much luck, Jack Catterall. And I'm hoping that he can build off of this and get something big in 2025. He deserves it more than anyone. He deserves it. He already should have been undisputed champion of the world, but to think he hasn't even held a world title yet is just criminal. So hopefully that comes for him in 2025. He looked good the other night, and I still don't think that was actually him at his very, very best, So, not much more to be said on that fight, to be honest with you. So all the best to both men there. Like I say, both men friends of the show. That then brings the review part to a close. It's now time to welcome this week's special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the featherweight contender himself, Mr. Isaac Lowe. Isaac, welcome back on the show, my man.
Hi, thanks for having us back on, pal. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going okay. It's fantastic, like I say, to have you back on. I think the first interview we did was back in 2016, so it's been a long time interviewing you now. Great to have you back on. We last spoke back in July of last year. At that time, you just knocked out Jonathan Santana in Scotland. Since then, you've had 2 more fights, 2 more wins, one in Bolton, one in Riyadh. It seems like you're in a good place at the moment, boxing-wise, Isaac.
Yeah, building back up now after obviously the Lopez and Nick Ball fight. Building back up. I'm on a run, I think, of 4 unbeaten. I don't know if I've stopped 2 or 3 of them or out me last 4. So I'm back on rolling back good again, get back in the momentum's going good again. And I'm in a good place. Everything's going smooth. I'm back home with the family, the wife, the baby, training hard. So I'm on home soil. So yeah, it's good.
Excellent, man. You touched on it there, the 2 losses to obviously Luis Alberto Lopez and Nick Ball. At that point, when you lost to them, obviously in back-to-back fights by stoppage, I think some people were starting to think maybe Isaac is on the slide perhaps. But, to be honest, both of them guys went on to be world champions now. Obviously, you're not happy to have lost to them, Isaac, but them losses have aged quite well.
Yeah, obviously, we know from the minute the Lopez fight, when we first took that, it was always a risky fight. But listen, it was a final eliminator for the IBF world title. We're not in boxing not to mess around. You need to try and obviously fight the best and try and get the world titles. And unfortunately, I come against a top kid in Lopez. Do you know what I mean? It was a good fight. Obviously, he won fair and square. Then the second fight with Nick Ball was really down to my own self. But really, everyone was guiding me to say, just do an 8-rounder. You're coming off an hard fight, obviously, with Lopez. Build yourself back up, do an 8-rounder or 6-rounder, get the cobwebs back off and rebuild. But obviously, the chance was there, and I wanted to go back in the deep end. And we all know how good Nick Ball was, but we didn't realise how good he was. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was, again, when I went back in Brighton, back with a good fight. But you're looking back now, Nick Ball's firing away. He's another world champion. He's flying with confidence. He's beating whoever he's in his way. And fair play to him. And as I said, I've only been beat at the elite level. So, yeah, I'm just, obviously, it was always at the time with a bit of a setback. And obviously, a lot of go on with sponsors and people, obviously, who always want to be around you. Then you look around the close people who do want to be with you, slide off. But I've kept my head down, kept focused, and I'm back on. I said 4 good wins in a row. Last fight out was a great win against a lad who had 17, won 16, a tough kid who comes forward, comes to fight. So it's put me in good contrast for my next fight.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, like you say, you're back building up now. You've had 3 fights. You're on a 3-fight win streak. Stopped 2 of them. You'll be back out again, obviously, on this Fury Usyk 2 undercard on December 21st in Riyadh. You'll be boxing Lee McGregor. I think this is a really interesting fight here, Isaac. It's probably not going to get the credit because obviously the main event's such a massive one. But as far as undercard fights go, it's a really good style clash, I think, mate.
Yeah, of course it is. Obviously, me and Lee was meant to do the fight December last year. This coming up this time last year, and obviously Lee pulled out. I think around about 10 days before with an injury, and obviously it was meant to reschedule it. And then obviously I got on the Saudi card, and it just went back from there. To be fair, it's just been back and forward. But then obviously Lee's had a little bit to say. I've had a little bit to say. So it's built. I think it's built for a good fight for the card. Like I said, the styles are definitely going to clash because we know what Lee does. We all know what I do. So it's going to be a great fight. The Scotch versus the English, as they say. It's a great fight for the card. To be fair, all the fights on the card, you look through the list. Dennis McCann's fight against Peter McGregor, that's going to be an absolute blockbuster. You got Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen. Again, it's going to be a shootout. We know Dave Allen's tough as anything. He comes to win. And obviously Johnny Fisher is a big bomber. So expect fireworks in that fight. And then we've got 2 other lads I don't quite know in the middleweight. It's supposed to be really good. So it's a good card from top to bottom.
Yeah, I think you're going to probably have the quickest shower you've ever had to get straight back out there, Isaac.
Yeah, well, don't worry about that one. Quicker we get the job done, quicker we get done.
There we go. I wanted to ask, what do you make of Lee as a fighter? I mean, he had a lot of promise a few years back, but I suppose in some ways, like yourself, he had 1 or 2 bad nights, and then he kind of got left in the shadows a little bit.
Yeah, Lee's a good lad. He's obviously, you don't win British, Commonwealth, English and European champion and box for the IBO world title if your pedigree is not good, obviously with a former GB member. So he's pedigree there. He is a good lad, but I think anything what Lee can do, I'm better at. When I say better at, when it comes to fight, I'm a lot better fighter. I can outbox him. I think anything what he does, I can do better, which I suppose he's going to say the same kind of thing. So that's what makes the fight interesting. We're both going to have to adapt in there. We're both going to come and land bombs on each other. And I think it's going to come down to who wants it most.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him obviously being at bantamweight, and he was, massive. He was for bantamweight. Obviously he's up the weights now. Is this a must-win fight for you, Isaac?
I think every fight at this stage in my career, I know so for Lee. I'm 30 years old. I think every fight you're going into now is a massive fight. Every fight's a must-win fight because obviously if I go and put a good statement against Lee McGregor and put a good display on, and then right back in the mix, and I've got another big fight coming up, and the same goes for Lee. I think every fight's a big must-win fight because if you go into a fight and think, it's not a must-win fight, or I don't need to worry about it, well then you're not training 100%. You're disheartened. You're not too bothered. So for me, every fight's a must-win fight. Every fight's got to be better than the last fight. I've got to perform better than the last fight. I've got to look better than the next fight. Everything's got to be better.
And I know, Isaac, obviously, that for many fights in your career, many hard fights that you've been in, challenging fights, you obviously had to work a job at the same time. You were juggling a job as well as training for boxing. A win here over Lee McGregor, surely will probably set up the best year for you coming for 2025, because I still am one of the people that feels like we haven't seen the best of you yet, Isaac. You're 30 now. You're probably in your prime.
Yeah, I think that'll be it. I think obviously I've got full intentions to go away with Lee and put a career best performance. And then obviously now I'm still working and doing bits and bobs. Then obviously it sets up for again going getting some good sponsorship where you can proper put your full mind and full job on the boxing, and I think that's when you get the best of me. When I'm fully focused on my job ahead, like I am now, I'm in a happy place. It's the best when you're best of me. It's like I'm at home, training at home now. I've got my family around me. I've got my baby here. So I've got home comforts. I know some fighters like to be away. I like to be away myself sometimes. Obviously, most of my career I go away with Tyson training camps. But it's nice for this one to be a bit back on home soil and just prepare at home and then get ready for the big one.
Excellent, my friend. Your old foe, Ryan Walsh, was back the other week knocking out Reece Mould in 1 round. Did you catch that fight at all? Obviously, it was a massive upset.
No, I never seen it, but I heard about it. And fair play to Ryan. Listen, he's one of them guys who's always been dedicated to the sport. I think Ryan, he could be back in the 39 now, but it just shows up that higher weight. He's always throughout his career he's been a massive puncher. So, and I've just seen he's got another big fight coming up now on 7th of December. What I've just seen before on Frank Warren's show in December. So he's just landed another big fight. So all the best for him. Listen, the bigger the weight for Ryan, I think it suits him at lightweight because he used to always. I know he's he's quite small, but he's quite big built. So yeah, all the best to him, and hopefully he can get a good end to his career now.
Yeah, good words, man. And of course, I must ask, you're obviously very close to Tyson. I know you say that, for this training camp you've spent it at home, but what can you tell us? How's he getting on? What have you heard? What can we expect in this rematch, Isaac?
Yeah, to be honest, nothing different from last time. A bit more focused, a bit more switched on, and I think he'll do the job. I think obviously it showed last time the fight was unbelievable close. It could have went to either fighter. Whoever got it, you couldn't round with. But up to round 7 or 8, in my eyes, Tyson was winning the fight comfortable. Till he actually got hurt in round 9. The fight swings. It took a bit of a swing, but in my opinion, probably a lot of people probably say, "Oh, you're biased because you're obviously Tyson's mate." But I think you can't win a fight just by one super round. There's obviously a lot more to it. But I think if Tyson's now switch on more and goes a bit more forward, and obviously you've got to be smart with Usyk. You don't come a cruiserweight world champion for nothing, under stupid, and also heavyweight if you're not good. So you've got to be smart, and then. But I do expect this time around Tyson to get the job done. I'm expecting a brilliant fight. To be fair, again, same as last time. It's round 13.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a great watch. The first fight was fantastic. He has to be smart. He has to be switched on. And if he is those two things, he can win. He can win well. I mean, like I say, I really agree with you, Isaac. He was having a fantastic fight until he got caught, and I think it was just a lapse in concentration momentarily, and it was a big turn in the fight. So yeah. Of
course it was, and that's what. Just a couple of little issues where you have to adapt. As all fighters, you've got to do things, and it's easy said done. It's easy saying it, but doing it in the ring sometimes. When you're tired and when you've got someone in front of you and who's as good as you, it's quite hard to. But if you just switch off for 2 or 3 seconds, that can change the fight. So he'll be ready. He'll be fully switched on. He knows what he's got to do, and we all know what he's got to do. And as I said, I'm not nothing more but a Tyson Fury win. I'm expecting.
Yeah, I'm absolutely hoping so. I don't want to throw Amir Khan under the bus, but we know Amir Khan used to sometimes switch off in fights, get a bit too involved, not be smart. But Tyson Fury's shown us that he can be smart for a whole 36 minutes. We saw it with Wilder. He's done it before. He can do it again. I'm really confident.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, every time Tyson's had a setback, he always come back and he knocks the person out. So if that's anything to go by, we should be getting a stoppage.
I cannot wait. I'm even more excited now. Just before we let you go, Isaac, if you've got any closing words to the listeners, like I say, it's great to have you back on. It's been many, many years. Just close out with a little message, my friend.
Yeah, just everyone, thanks for supporting me over all these years now. Everyone's still following me, and obviously you get your good and you get your bad. Just keep following us and enjoy the build-up to the December the 21st. Enjoy the show, and then everyone have a safe Christmas and enjoy.
Excellent, my friend. Listen, Isaac, as always, the pleasure's mine. Thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck on December the 21st, my man.
Thank you very much. Now, cheers for having us. Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show. This part, of course, the news part of the show. A couple bits to bring you. Lawrence Okolie has signed a promotional agreement with Queensberry's, joining Frank Warren. That one came as a little bit of a surprise to me, in all honesty. So yeah, he's deciding to campaign now at heavyweight. He's given up his WBC Bridgerweight world title that he won, with that first round stoppage of Lucas Rozansky back in May. Nothing really came after that. He won the title, and then all of a sudden, no one was really interested. I think that Bridgerweight category is still a little bit kind of, it's not. There's not much going on there, to be honest with you. But he can call himself a 2-weight world champion, but a lot of people won't recognise it. He, of course, did reign, elite level at cruiserweight, but yeah, he's back up at heavy. Well, he's campaigning now at heavyweight. It's going to be interesting. They've already announced his first fight, which we'll get to in a moment. So all the best to him. Also, we have, in terms of news, a world title double header that Matchroom have announced. It's going to be December the 14th in Monte Carlo. We're going to be seeing Murajon Akhmadaliev stepping in the ring, defending his WBA interim super bantamweight world title against Ricardo Espinoza Franco, his name is. What else do we have on that card? We got Beatrice Ferreira getting out as well. We have Chev Clark on the bill. He gets in with the undefeated Frenchman Leonardo Mosquera, who is 15-0 with 9 KOs, and Gary Cully stepping in the ring with Maxie Hughes. I like that one there for the WBA Continental Lightweight title. So all the best again to both men there. Gary Cully against Maxie Hughes should be a good fight. What else do we have? That Beatrice Ferreira fight, by the way, is for the IBF Lightweight World title. That's it for that one. Moving on once again. This is, I think, the final piece of news that we have, and it's that Queensberry have announced another Magnificent 7 card. This one to go down, though, in London at the OVO Arena, Wembley, Saturday, December the 7th. We're going to be seeing Pierce O'Leary on the card. We're going to see Alois Yumbi back out again. He gets in with Lewis Oakford. We're going to see Lawrence Okolie having his Queensberry debut against Hussein Mohammed. We're going to see Sean Noakes stepping in with Matthew Rennie. We're going to see Sean's brother Sam Noakes stepping in with Ryan Walsh for the British, Commonwealth and WBO International Lightweight titles. We're also going to see, kind of topping the bill in some ways, Brad Pauls stepping in with Denzel Bentley. I think that's a really good fight there. And not to mention a heavyweight clash for the English heavyweight title, Sol Dakers against David Adelaide. That fight has been rescheduled there. So it's good to see that one on the card. It's going to be interesting there, December the 7th. It's a decent card. I don't think it's as good as the Magnificent 7 that they did in Birmingham earlier this year, but it's still got some good fights on that. Moving now to the preview part of the show then. This one goes down tomorrow, Friday, November the 1st at the SSE Arena in Belfast, Northern Ireland. This one is apparently without TV. I don't know if there's a way to watch it. I'm sure there will be somewhere. But anyway, on this card, over 10 rounds at light heavyweight, we've got Padraig McCrory, 18-1, stepping in with Leonard Carrillo, who's 17-5. And we've also got friend of the show. This is a bit of a really random fight. Robbie Davies Jr., 23-5. Last seen, I believe, boxing in the States. I think he boxed on a card, I want to say, in Florida. I'm sure it was is it a Showbox card or whatever it's not Showbox, is it? It's Pro Box card. He boxed on a Pro Box card against Sergei Lipanets. That one went down in May. I remember that fight. It was a really, really, really good fight. And he showed a hell of a lot of balls there. He showed that he had a lot more left than I thought he would have had. But anyway, he's back here, friend of the show, 23-5. He steps in with Javier Fortuna, 38-4 with a draw. It's a really, really obscure fight there. Strange one. Javier Fortuna's only boxed once since losing to Ryan Garcia back in July 2022. All the best to Robbie Davies there in Northern Ireland. Moving now to the Resorts World Arena in Birmingham, West Midlands, United Kingdom. This one's going to be live on TNT Sport. Over here, 3 fights to mention that I think are going to be pretty good. Let's talk about maybe the least exciting or the least important of the three, in my humble opinion. We're going to see Echo Esserman, 20-1, stepping in the ring against the undefeated 10-0 Ben Vaughan. That one for the WBO European welterweight title. Last time out, Echo Esserman, as we know, should have been up on the cards against Owen Cooper, but was actually behind on the cards and needed a KO and managed to get it, despite how unlikely it looked in that 10th and final round. But he did get it, and he did stop Owen Cooper, and he marches on here against the undefeated Ben Vaughan over 10 rounds. For me, that's a win for Echo Esserman in my book. Also on the card, we're going to be seeing friend of the show. We had her on a few weeks ago, Chantel Cameron, 19-1, stepping in with Patricia Bergholt for the WBC interim super lightweight world title. Patricia Bergholt, of course, lost. Her only ever loss came to Natasha Jonas on points back in 2022. A unification there. Up at 154, so she finds herself here down at 140 against Chantel Cameron. All the best to Chantel. We know that Bergholt, is a tough girl, and for me, this is going to be a Chantel Cameron points win all day long. I don't see her stopping Bergholt. But like I say, all the best to Chantel Cameron, who's a good friend of mine. Also on the card as well, Liam Davies, 16-0, stepping in with 13-0 Shabazz Massoud for the IBO Super Bantamweight World title. Liam Davies, obviously one of Frank Warren's brightest fighters, and also Shabazz Massoud, if I'm not mistaken, is with Matchroom. So another example of a fight being made between Eddie and Frank, which is always good to see. And it's a battle of two undefeated fighters. Again, this one was scheduled to take place earlier on in the year. It's been pushed back. It's great that we're finally getting it here, so don't miss that one. It's going to be interesting. I would favour Liam Davies, but there's a lot of talk about Shabazz Massoud, and it's been there for years. A lot of people saying he's a very, very talented fighter, and apparently we haven't seen anywhere near the best of him under the bright lights. We may have to see it if he's to beat Liam Davies on the weekend, who, Liam Davies himself is in a fantastic position with surely, something big on the horizon for him. So he's got a lot on the line there, a lot to lose against Shabazz Massoud. Moving now to the Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, USA. Over here, friend of the show, Cassius Chaney, fresh off his loss to Michael Hunter last time out, 23-2. He's back in an 8-rounder here at heavyweight, of course, against Honorio de Ewaremi. Probably saying his name wrong. It doesn't really matter. He's 20-5. All the best there to Cassius Chaney. Moving now to this one. It goes down at the Virgin Hotels Las Vegas in Nevada. This one I think will be live on the Zone. Couple fights to mention on this one. We're going to see Darius Foljam, the 12-0 prospect. He's back in a 10-rounder here against Christopher Pearson, who is 17-4 with a draw. I think Darius Foljam's certainly one to watch. Also on the card, we're going to see 14-1 Bektamir Melakuziev, Beck the Bully, stepping in with identical record, 14-1 David Stevens. That one's over 10 rounds at super middleweight. We're going to see Gabriela Fundora, the sister of the Towering Inferno. She is 14-0. She's a very, very, very good fighter. She's back in a 10 2-minute round contest here for the IBF, WBC and WBO flyweight world titles. A unification here against Gabriela Alaniz, who's 15-1. That could be interesting there between those two ladies. Also on the card as well, Floyd Schofield, a very good looking prospect, 17-0 in a 12-rounder here against Rene Giron, who's 20-3. So that could be an interesting card there on Saturday night, but unfortunately it clashes with the top ranked card that goes down at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York, USA. This one, of course, will be live on ESPN Plus. It will be live on Sky Sports. I'm just going to start straight with the main event, actually. It's the rematch between Robson Conceição, 19-2 with a draw. He's defending his WBC Super Featherweight World title in an instant rematch against former champion O'Shaki Foster, 22-3. A lot of people felt that Conceição was extremely fortunate to get the decision in the first fight. This is the rematch. I can't see any other outcome aside from an O'Shaki Foster win on points again, because I think he won the first fight clearly. I think Conceição's a very tough guy. I don't think that O'Shaki will be able to stop him. The only thing with O'Shaki is sometimes he's a little bit negative. And I think the judges didn't like how negative he can be, even though he lands the better shots and outlands his opponents and, makes them look silly at times. Sometimes, judges want to see a guy pressing the action, coming forward, forcing the fight, and he doesn't always do that. So he lost a few rounds on scorecards because of that last time. I wonder if he's going to change up his style a little bit. I don't think he should. But yeah, it was quite terrible how they robbed Usyk Foster last time, and I didn't think we'd see this instant rematch because it almost makes no sense for Robson Conceição. Maybe there was a clause in there that he had to give him the rematch, because I don't think if I was Conceição I'd want to fight Usyk Foster again, because I think he probably knows himself deep down he did not win the fight. But like I say, I'm expecting Usyk to win this one on points again. But again, it might be worth backing Conceição for a points win, because like I say, the odds are probably quite good on him to do it. And if it's the same kind of judges that we saw before, then you might see a similar outcome. So it'd be interesting. But again, I think that one definitely goes the distance. We have on the card as well Abraham Nova, 23-3, stepping in with the usually teak tough Humberto Galindo, 14-3 with 2 draws. That could be interesting there. Galindo's been a little bit inactive of late though. Also on the card as well, another fighter that for me seems to improve every single time I see him. Raymond Muratalla, 21-0. He's back in a 10-rounder at lightweight here against Jesus Campos, who's 25-5. Could be interesting. I'm really just enjoying though Muratalla's improvement. Every single time I see him fight, he seems to be a little bit better. There was a time in his career where he boxed someone, I can't remember who it was now. I think for some reason something's telling me it was Humberto Galindo, but I could be wrong. But I remember him being knocked down, and I remember thinking, oh, that's not good. But then since then, like I say, he's really mixed it with a whole different range of styles, and for me he's been improving a lot. He even shared the ring with Tevin Farmer, which was an interesting fight, I think probably the last time we saw him in a ring, so that was another good style for him to test himself against. And like I say, he's improving all the time, so great to see him come through. He's a true top contender at lightweight. And also finally on that card, we've got heavyweight Damian Naiba, 13-0 in an 8-rounder here against Richard Lartey, who's 16-6. Some people might remember Richard Lartey from back in the day. He shared the ring with a few British fighters, namely Daniel Dubois, the reigning heavyweight champion of the world right now. He also shared the ring with Fabio Wardley and Nathan Gorman as well. So like I say, some people might remember him. He's got that fantastic BoxRec photo of him posing with his fists up while wearing a WhatsApp t-shirt, which I've never seen anywhere. No one has ever worn it anywhere else in the world. I believe there's probably only one of them shirts that's ever been made, and he is the owner of that shirt. And I tell you what, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on it because he makes it look absolutely fantastic. I think that WhatsApp have changed their logo since then, but he still looks brilliant in that snap there. But like I say, he's going to be on the receiving end here, I think, against Damian Naiba. But having said that, he did spring an upset earlier this year. He stepped in with Ondrej Warzik, who some people might remember. He's been around for a long time, and he was able to actually knock Warzik out in the 4th round, which was a massive shock because, Warzik has been in there with some really good fighters. I remember seeing him fight against Kubrat Pulev. I was expecting Pulev to be able to stop him. That one went down in December last year. He ended up losing to Pulev over 10 rounds. He's been in the ring with Alexander Povetkin, just like you have, Eddie. That was the only man to have stopped him quicker than Richard Lartey. So Richard Lartey might be coming into this with a bit of confidence, but again, I don't think it's going to be enough to beat Damian Naiba, who you've also sparred. I don't know if you wanted to say anything on any of these fights that we're previewing here, Eddie. There's not been too much to come to you about. But yeah, if you've got anything you want to add, then add it before we wrap things up.
Yeah, I mean, a little on the kid, the Damian Naiba kid. He's pretty good, prospect that I actually sparred with. Had a chance to see it firsthand. Really rangy, really tall, 6'7", 6'8". Decent pop, but when I say decent pop, I didn't really feel that much of it because I wasn't trying to take too many punches when I was in that sparring session. Excuse me, in that sparring session. So But yeah, decent ability. Moves around, not the kind of big guy is just going to be sitting there. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting, to see him. I actually kind of want to see him fight, outside of being there with me, just to kind of figure. It was the first sparring session I had in like 4 years, and I went in there, and it was just, it was obviously a sobering moment, but it wasn't. I actually did well, especially if you think of how much time, it was from before I've been in front of somebody in such a long time. But yeah, he's not a bad prospect. He's gonna definitely, like I said, he's tall, rangy, not really slow. He's got some ability. So it obviously remains to be seen. We want to see him in front of somebody, major before you start, crowning him the next guy, the next up. But yeah, he's something to watch. He's someone to watch definitely in the near future.
Well, there we go. The infamous stamp of approval from Eddie doesn't come out too often, so it's made me excited to watch him on the undercard here. Should be a few decent fights to watch. Like I say, on Saturday night we've got the UK card nice and early. When that finishes, it pretty much goes straight into the US cards, whether you decide to watch the Golden Boy card or the Top Rank card. But like I say, you're spoilt for choice in the very late evening here in the UK. That is about it, though, for the preview part. In part one, we did the review part. Then we welcomed our special guest. Of course, that man being Mr. Isaac Lowe. It's always good to have him on the show. We've been having him on for years now. In part two, we did the news and the preview part. The final thing for me to do is to come in with the outro, which I'll do in just a few seconds. Okay, and this wraps up episode 472 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. Eddie Chambers has been with me for the duration of the show. A massive shout out to this week's special guest, of course, Morecambe's very own featherweight contender, Mr. Isaac Lowe. The biggest thanks of all, though, goes out to you, the listeners. Thanks once again for tuning in, as you do every week. That's about everything now from myself. Enjoy your weekends, people. Stay safe, and we'll see you all again same time next week.